Alrighty guys, this is the video for box and whisker plots. Today we're going to go ahead and start with some vocabulary. So if we look here at the vocabulary builder section, we have quartile. And a quartile is one of three values that divide a data set into four parts, such that each part contains the same number of data values. So if we look over here at the picture, we have quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 3. If we look down here at math usage, quarter 2, or the second quartile, is also known as the median. So the median, that middle number in a data set that you have probably learned before in middle school, that is the second quartile. That separates the data into an upper and lower halves. The first quartile is the median of the lower half of the data, and the third quartile is the median of the upper half of the data. So we're going to work through using some quartiles to create box and whisker plots. So now that we have gone over what quartile means, go ahead and flip to problem number 1, please. So just like we did in the first video on frequency and histograms, we always have to arrange the data from least to greatest. So here we have 60, 65, 75, and then we are missing a 75 and a 75. Because if we look up here, we go 60, 65, and 75, and then 75, 75, and then it continues going 85, 85, 85, 95, 100, and what's left is 105. So then it asks us to circle the median, so that's when we go ahead and try to find that middle number. So if I take one off from the left and one off from the right, working my way in, and if we look here, 85 is my median. To continue from that, in question number 9, the minimum data value, that's the smallest number, so that is going to be 60. And the maximum data value, that means the largest number, that's 105. So then it says write each data value from exercise 8 into the correct box. So if we look down here at question number 10, let's scroll here. It asks us to write each data value from exercise 8 into the correct box. But if we look, we had a median of 85. That meant my middle number was 85. To the left of the median, we had 60, 65, 75, 75, and 75. And to the right of the median, we had a couple other 85s, and then we had 95, 100, and 105. So these are the data points from this scenario. Now, if we look at number 11, it says the median of the numbers to the left of the median is blank. So that means we're going to do that same process that we did where we take one from the bottom, one from the top, and work our way in. We're knocking them off until we get the median, so that's going to be 75. That is our first quartile because the first quartile happens before the median. Now, if we look over here, the values to the right, and we cross these off, our median to the right is 95. And that is going to be the third quartile. So again, the median is the middle number, the first quartile is before the median, and the third quartile is after the median. So if we look down here, a box and whisker plot is a graph that summarizes a set of data by displaying it along a number line. It consists of 3 parts, a box and 2 whiskers. So if we look, what we had just done was calculate the quartiles. And if you look here, that box is made up of the first, the second, and the third quartiles. The whiskers are created by finding the maximum data point and the minimum. So based on what we did, we could create a box plot from problem 1. However, let's look at problem 2 to go ahead and create that box and whisker plot. So if we look here, the first step that we always want to do is order the data from least to greatest. So if we look, our minimum value is 4, and our maximum value is 34. So now we have to fill it in. So it goes 4, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, then we have 2 16ths, and the last one is 25. So here we have our data points from least to greatest. To continue what we started on problem number 13, we now kind of have already calculated values for us here in number 14. So it's a little bit scaffolded here. So we have a minimum value. That's going to be the smallest number that we have. So if we look in column B and we look for the smallest number, that's 4. So 4 is going to be the minimum value. The maximum value is going to be the largest number. So if we look in column B, 34 is the largest number, so that is the maximum value. Now the median is going to be the middle number. So if we look at what we have left over, we have 9, 14.5, and 16. So we know that the middle number, or the number that is in between these numbers that we have left, has to be the median. So again, that median is going to be the middle number, so that median is 14.5. That first quartile then is going to be less than the median, so that has to be number 9. That's my first quartile. And then my third quartile has to be larger than the median, so that's going to be 16. So if we look here, we have a minimum value of 4, a maximum value of 34, 14.5 is the median, the first quartile is 9, and the third quartile is 16. So if we look down here, we are going to label our box and whisker plot using these values. So down here, we have the minimum of 4, the first quartile is 9, the median is 14.5, the third quartile is 16, and the max is 34. So there are our box and whisker plots. So here, just to make sure that we followed the directions, it says use the number line in the box and whisker plot below, label the minimum, maximum, and the quartiles on the plot with the values. So we did use the values here. Let's just go ahead and name the points here. So this was our minimum. So again, we have our first quartile, our median, our third quartile, and our maximum. So in a box and whisker plot, that shows the 3 quartiles, so the first, second, and third quartiles, the minimum, and the maximum. So now let's scroll down to number 3 here so that we can interpret a box and whisker plot. So the box and whisker plot is given here, and now we have to make an assumption and answer some questions here over the different values that are shown. So this tells us that we are looking at a chart about monthly rainfall. And then we are looking at Miami and New Orleans. So number 16 says circle the median of each box and whisker plot. So remember that median is that middle value here. So we have two different medians. For Miami, our median looks to be around 4.5. 4.5 is there. So that is our median for Miami. Now, if we look at New Orleans and we go up, it is in between 5 and 5.5. So if we look at the options for New Orleans over here, we need to find the option that is between 5 and 5.5, and that is 5.3. So now that we see that the median for Miami is 4.5, and the median for New Orleans is 5.3, now we can answer question 17. Question 17 asks us, what does the medians tell us about the average monthly rainfall for the two cities? Well, the average monthly rainfall, the median for New Orleans is 5.3, and for Miami it's only 4.5. So the rationale or the conclusion that I would come to is that it rains, we don't want the highlighter, it rains almost an inch more per month in New Orleans. So again, it tells us here, since we have 5.3 and 4.5, it rains almost an inch more per month in New Orleans, or you could say it rains more in New Orleans, it rains less in Miami. There are a lot of different things that the medians tell us about in this box plot. Now let's go over percentile rank. You hear percentiles a lot of times using state testing. You scored in the 75th percentile and things like that. Now we're going to talk about what that exactly means. So if we look here, the percentile rank of a data value is the percentage of data values that are less than or equal to that value. So if we look, we have our question number 4 here. It says, of 25 test scores, there are 15 scores less than or equal to 85. What is the percentile rank of a test score of 85? So this data chart here will help us reason what the percentile rank is. So over here it says think. I should write a ratio to compare the number of scores less than or equal to 85 to the total number of test scores. So that means here that the number of scores less than or equal to 85, that should go on the top. And then the total number of test scores should go on the bottom. So if we looked at that problem again, the number of scores less than or equal to 85 was 15, and the total number of test scores was 25. So we have 15 over 25. If we simplify that fraction down, we end up having 3/5, and 3 divided by 5 to give us that percent is going to give us 60%. Because 3 divided by 5 is 6/10. Multiply that times 100 will give us 60%. So to answer this final question, a test score of 85 in this group of test scores ranks at the 60th percentile. So now I want you guys to look at this lesson check. Do you understand? This is going to be on your own problems. What that means is you are responsible for the knowledge that you obtain in this video. So the answers will be posted on Google Classroom, and we will probably discuss this during our mini lesson check tomorrow. So again, this is the end of the video for box and whisker plots. So you can go ahead and move on to your Cycle 1 walkthrough, and we will again have a mini lesson tomorrow.